Instagram. We are live. Super excited to be here today to do. This is our fourth pathway to purpose. Giving it a minute for others to join, but I can't believe we're on the fourth. And again, I keep going to say episode, so I'm feeling that maybe potentially this could be, hey Lisa, I'm feeling, hey Anna, I'm feeling this potentially every time I go to say pathway to purpose and I'm like, this is the fourth episode, I'm like, I'm feeling tingles for a podcast. So I'm super excited for today's guest. And first of all, before I bring her into the room, if you are not familiar with Pathway to Purpose, this is where I have conversations with inspiring people who are fully living into their purpose. And for me, it's like I meet a lot of people and purpose means so many different things to different people. I really wanted to bring these conversations here so that you can see what it is, what it takes to fully live into your purpose. And you know, you may even feel like purpose means something different to you. That's okay, it doesn't matter, but just hearing other people speak their truth will activate something within you. Well, that's my intention. Okay, so I am bringing in the beautiful Anna is an experiential and trained trauma specialist, and she's freaking amazing. I met Anna through a program that. Hi!
Hi. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Oh no, it's okay. I think it sometimes takes a minute to click in.
Yeah, there's
How
a
are
bit of
you?
a delay as well.
Oh no,
Do you
is
hear me well?
there? Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
hear you. Oh no, I
Okay, it's better now.
went live on here. Okay. I went live on here yesterday to make sure that it worked, that the signal worked in this corner. So let's hope the universe works with us.
It has to. It's the 10th of the 10th.
The 10th of the 10th, absolutely. So I had just said as you were coming on, but in case that broke up for people, Anna is an experiential and trained trauma specialist who is amazing at what she does. I've met you a few years ago, and just to see you evolve on your journey has just been so amazing. And I'm so excited to bring you to my audience so they can witness your magic. But I'm so excited because I feel like we've done programs together, we've been in a mastermind together, but I still feel like I still feel like there's so much to you that I don't know about. So I'm super excited for this. Before we get into the whole thing, this is a question that I've been asking everyone at the start of Pathway to Purpose. I'm just really curious to know, because purpose means something different to a lot of people. I want to know what it is that purpose means to you.
Thank you for the invitation and thank you for your excitement. I feel exactly the same way. We could do like lives forever because I think there's so much that we want to know about each other. I want to share, and your energy is just so nourishing. I'm so glad you do what you do. And I totally believe this is going to be a podcast. It
Ah,
is. It already is.
yeah, it already is. That's how I feel too. It's like the conversations are just happening and we'll just see. We'll roll with it.
Yeah. So for me, purpose means being on my dharmic path. So taking on the role that I'm meant to take on, or roles, because I also feel like you can have many purposes in one lifetime. And I every time I'm like, oh, now this is my purpose. And then something new comes in and I'm like, oh, and that gets to include it too. And that part too. And I feel like our life is just one big uncovering of what we thought we should be doing and what people told us that we should be doing and what society is expecting us to do. And I think the older we get and the more work we do with ourselves, the more clear it gets, like, oh, actually, no, we're taking this corner and we're going 1% more to the right here. So I feel like it's a real dance with life, and life is offering you all these things throughout your lifetime, and it's up to us to say, ooh, that resonates in my body. I want that, or I'm going to do that. And I feel like that's what we're coming here to do, all of us. But some of us get really sidetracked, or some of us go onto a different path for a while, and then something big happens in their lives, and maybe they're like put on the right path all of a sudden. And I love hanging out with people that that have a similar vision of like, oh, I signed up for this. This is my soul contract. And even though I don't understand why I need to quit my corporate job, I feel I need to. So I'm just going to do it because I have trust and faith that lies me where I need to be. So I think, yeah, for me, it is a dance with life and what you're meant here to do, living your dharmic purpose, and staying open, not thinking, oh, now I'm doing this, or this is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. No, maybe life's gonna throw some like massive rock on me again, and I'll be like, oh, okay, so we need to shift again, and just be open to dance with that.
Yeah, I freaking love that. I love that, just the dance with life, because I think it's such a permission slip for people, because I think people try and get so focused on what is the one thing that I'm meant to do and almost become attached to that, and then like don't get to flow with life, as you say, the dance. So I freaking love that. That's beautiful. So can you share a little bit with us about how you were led to what you do?
Yeah. I was thinking, obviously, when you asked me to come on for this live, I was just thinking, where did it start? Because there's so many moments in life that pivot you and that show you a new turn, right? And I think for me, the biggest life event that I've had that really put me into the right direction of my purpose is when I started to have panic attacks when I was 16. And I was just flooded with panic multiple times a day, thinking I was going to die. And it all started this one moment where I ate hash cookies. So there was hash, and I overwhelmed myself with that, and my system took it completely the wrong way. I wasn't able to integrate it or have, the integrated experience that you can have and that some people really love. And it just opened up the whole box of feelings that I had suppressed for those 16 years before. And I was just flooded every day, multiple times a day, and I had no idea what to do. So I think the moment in my life where I felt most alone I've ever felt. And at that time I didn't realize, obviously, but only later I realized it was my awakening, where I realized, always prioritizing others and thinking about people's feelings. Hear me, because you are
Yeah,
frozen a little bit for me.
I
Oh, okay, perfect.
can hear you. Yeah, yeah. I hope
So
everybody else can hear us. You can let us know in the chat, or you can jump in the chat. Keep it interactive. We're here for the comments as well.
yeah, that helps a lot. It's also lovely to see who's jumping in. Hello, everyone. Mohammed, Angela, Louisina. So I think I had to start my healing journey there. And I was only 16. And, this now is 23 years ago. Available or obvious about what they were going through. And I went to my GP to ask what was going on with me. I didn't know I had panic attacks. And I remember her saying, well, this is just because that substance is still in your body. So yeah, it can take up to 3 months for you to shift this out of your body. And nothing shifted out of my body because the trauma was already stored in my body. The trauma of thinking I was going to die was so available. And it took me another, I think, half year before, I don't know how, but I finally realized I could actually speak to a psychologist and get help to heal this terrifying, terrible panic that I was feeling every day. So that's when I embarked on the healing journey. And this also directed me eventually studying psychology and me trying out all kinds of different modalities and different kinds of therapies to deal with the panic, because I still have these attacks. They still flood me every now and then. And I think it keeps me on point. They're a messenger now. I know what they're here to tell me something. I don't need to make them go away. Like the first therapist that I had, it was cognitive behavioral therapy. How can we stop feeling? Whereas the whole message from the panic attacks for me is, how can you feel more? What have you not been feeling? What are you trying to avoid to feel? And the longer I don't do my practices, the worse it gets, and the more I get flooded. So I just feel like I have a lifelong companion here next to me called Panic, and she's here to teach me. And instead of me making her wrong, I'm like trying to hold her hand and just be her and see if I can complete the cycle. Instead of thinking, oh, I need to get out of here because it feels so horrible. I'm all about, this has become my transmission. How can you feel so body that even when a panic attack floods you, you can just stay, not just stay, you can try to remain with it. And you know, panic comes ways, shapes, and forms. And I've had panic in moments of sexual abuse, where I was sexually abused, or when I was in moments of conflict and war, because I've worked in war zones. And it's the same kind of thing that happens to the body. You're overwhelmed and there's no control. You can't control what's into you. You can't control what's coming out of you. And that for me is the biggest teaching still in life. How do we handle those moments when we're so triggered, so flooded, so out of control? What can we do? What I'm doing now with women.
I love all of that, and thank you for sharing, because I think, again, hello, the word is coming through, permission slip, and I think that's probably why we're so drawn to each other, because both of our work is so much about like feeling that there was, you know, it was like that as well. It was like kind of like, you're too sensitive, there's something wrong with you, you're throwing temper tantrums. And it was because I had so much emotion within my body to express it. I feel like I was allowed to express it, and now like it's this whole learning process. Like, no, it's actually meant to be expressed, and it's not to be feared. And the wisdom that comes from, I love how you describe it, like you have with you panic and the war, you've worked in war zones as well, which I feel is such a big part of purpose. How did you feel inspired to actually want to go to war zones?
I think I'm gonna reset.
Oh no, Anna, I wouldn't. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi. I'd say it's mine. Okay, I've turned off the Wi-Fi and I'm going on my phone network. So let's hope that this is better. I doubt it's yours.
I don't know. Bali seems pretty good these days too.
Oh, I don't know. I was in 3 different cafes. We couldn't hear you well. Sorry. Oh, thanks for letting us know. Okay, please bear with us and we'll get back into this.
Can you hear me?
Is it any better? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you've stopped breaking up. This is really good.
Okay, amazing. I don't know. It's the combination of both of them.
You have to repeat what you just asked me, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And apologies to everybody who's listening. I was just asking the question about, like, you mentioned the war tour, war zones that you went to, and I feel like that, you know, witnessing you, it's such a big part of your purpose. Thanks so much for letting us know. It's such a big part of your purpose. So, like, how did you become inspired to want to go there, to want to help people in war torn countries?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of obviously, again, life handing me little pieces and bits and moments where it's like, what is this trying to teach me? I think I've always thought that I wasn't strong enough to go to places with conflict and war, because I'm so sensitive and so emotional. I just always took on that message when people told me, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive, you're weak, you're complicated, you're vulnerable, like all of that. I had internalized that, and I thought, I'm just not strong. And then I was already working as a child therapist and working a lot with parents as well in the Netherlands. But then I ended up in 2015, it was, in a big earthquake in Nepal, where thousands of people died. And I was there traveling with my brother. And I don't know what got to me, but I became so clear as soon as the earthquake had happened. And we were standing in the middle of a road that was completely cracked, and we couldn't go anywhere. And I just knew what to do. I don't know where it came from. It's like, I don't know if it was God or life or the universe directly into me saying, okay, we need to get out of here. It's really unsafe here. We all got our backpacks because we're going to go on a hike. So let's hike back to Kathmandu city and see if we can get phone reception and see if we can get what we need to, you know, make sure that we survive this. And I still look back at that time thinking, what was that? I was so centered, so grounded, whereas people around me, other tourists, they were like completely shocked and they were in survival strategies, of course, and that would be a really healthy and normal response. But somehow I had the clarity to deal with the problems at hand. And then on our way out of Kathmandu, we flew to India first, to Delhi first, and then back to Belgium. There was a man next to me on the plane, and so it was like a military plane, and they had flattened 9 seats to put his, I don't know what that's called in English actually, we say brancard in Dutch. So it was like his flatbed that because he was very severely wounded. He had like all kinds of monitors on him and fluids and IV and stuff. And during our takeoff, all these monitors started beeping and plinging, and I just thought, this man's gonna die next to me. He was around my age, and apparently we heard later he was in a landslide. This is why he was so severely injured. And because they were taking off, the staff of the plane couldn't look after him. So I just sat there for, I don't know, 10 minutes thinking this man was gonna die right next to me. And I don't know what that did, but that opened something up inside of me thinking, if I can stay this calm in a situation like I've just been through, there is nothing inside of me anymore that's going to tell me that I'm too weak or I'm not able to hold space for people or be in a place that is so chaotic, because apparently I am. And it just motivated me so much to just apply and start posting on vacancies for mental health specialists. Even though I didn't have the training, I didn't have the experience working in war zones, I just thought, I'm just going to get there because I need to go there. This is just what I meant to, I don't know, still, I don't have the words, just, yep, I'm going to do that. And then I found my way and I ended up there, and I am totally able to do this work. And it is my purpose to help people find safety in the most chaotic, wild, unsafe circumstances, or at least to hold themselves and hold each other in moments where it is normal to not feel safe in your body, and it's normal to numb, and it's a good mechanism to fight or flight or freeze, and just to help people understand their bodies instead of making themselves wrong and thinking that they've got severe psychiatric disorders. No, you're in a completely normal response to an abnormal situation, and I'm here to hold space for you and help you see that there's nothing wrong with you. So basically the message that I needed to hear my whole lifetime is what I'm able to give to others in such circumstances.
Wow, so powerful. And you mentioned like I'm in awe, I'm in shock. Like I'm just like, wow, I could never, because you mentioned something there, been like, I didn't think I'd be strong enough, and I'm like going, there's no way I'd be able to do that. I would not be strong enough. I had a previous boss that in my 9 to 5, he used to work with an organization, and he used to go out to these countries, and the stories he would tell me, I was like, I have no idea how you do that. And he said to me one day, I have no idea how you talk to people about their emotions. And I was like, yeah, okay, we all have our things. We just have to trust that wherever we're called to, we go. Because he could think of nothing more painful than sitting with a one-to-one person and them being in pain. He just couldn't think of anything worse. So it's just funny, we all have our things. But you mentioned something almost like a parallel that you were saying about people feeling safe in their bodies, that you were mentioning whatever it is that there's, like, I'm getting from you, there's a similarity from people in war zones and people experiencing different experiences in life, and our body can react the same way. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying you find a lot of similarities with women that you work with? It doesn't matter where. I'll move Anna, because I'd say it's me. It doesn't matter where they are or what situation they're in. Our body just reacts in the same way if we are in a situation that our ego appears to be threatening. I mean, well, those people are in threatening situations, but for some of us that are going through something just unknown, the body can respond in a similar way.
Yeah, I think it's exactly the same thing. You're under threat, whether you're in a war zone or you're with a man that is treating you in an abusive way, or you are in a car accident, or you're going back to childhood memories where an adult shouted at you. It's the same experience for the body. The nervous system gets flooded, overwhelmed, and you go into a survival strategy, and you should. And that is the best thing that the body does. And we can, if we would all be able to tune in a little bit more into our bodies, we could follow her, because she knows her way out. You can see animals after stressful incidents. My dog, after something stressful is happening to her, she shakes it off, and then the cycle is completed. But we have so many beliefs and systems in place to not be weird, or not, we have to keep it under control, and we contract and we contract, and at some point the body becomes either inaccessible or numb, or it stores the stuff that we don't continue to move out, or that we don't speak because we're scared of judgment or scared of rejection. So I see the same thing, and it doesn't matter how big or small your trauma is. Our body responds in the most skillful way, trying to protect us from future trauma and disaster. And I think whatever whatever works for us can work for us in all situations. It doesn't matter if it's you on the plane and the plane just sinks really quickly just before arrival, or breaks through, it's just there every day. There's multiple moments in our day that make us go into a survival strategy. Yeah. And if we learn that, and we can, get familiar with that, it becomes a whole lot less complicated and heavy and difficult to handle the challenges of life, because trauma is part of life for all of us. And we have all stored so much shit in our bodies. Yeah. And it's just so beautiful if we find the bravery to start feeling it. Just like, you do such similar work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you come across a lot of trauma too.
Well, it's interesting that we're having this conversation, because when I went through my spiritual awakening following a breakup, and like for years I wanted that ex back, and I eventually cut him. He kept coming in and out of my life, but I eventually cut him out of my life. And then I remember having nightmare. Just one night had a nightmare, and it was basically that I was in a terrorist attack, and I got to safety, and then I was feeling okay, and then something happened again, and so my anxiety, I woke up the next day with anxiety, because it was like this peak. You're in terror, then you're safe, then you're safe, then you're in terror, and then you're safe. And it was the exact same feeling that I had endured in that toxic relationship. I just didn't realize it, and I had buried it for so long. Yeah, so I think that really, like, I was already doing the coaching and the energy work, but that just brought me so much deeper into somatics, and I really needed to go, because I was doing so much with like energy healing, and I was doing so much with like mind stuff as well, but when I brought it to somatics. So can you speak to some of the somatics that you do with people?
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, so it's as you know very well, like it has a lot to do with starting to understand that our body is feeling unsafe for the right reason. So not making it wrong, because every time we feel something in the body, for most of us that feels uncomfortable, we avoid, we run from it, we go into numbing, the hours and hours of scrolling on Instagram, or the drinking, or the drugs, or the partying. I mean, there's so many ways that we can find an addiction so we're not feeling. And I love what Gabor Mate says about addiction. It's all like builds on the foundation of trauma and childhood trauma for most of us. So if we can start to see that we have these patterns, and that is just an intelligent way of us not trying to feel, but that our body is safe to feel. Like, okay, we feel flooded by emotions because they feel so uncomfortable, but they're nothing more than a wave of sensations. I find it super difficult to feel shame and guilt. I don't know anybody who's comfortable feeling shame and guilt, because they are horrible. They're like, they contract us and they make us feel so inferior and worthless. But I'm learning more and more to see that, to identify, like, what is the sensation actually in the body? Because my mind makes up this immediate story, which is a flight mechanism. I'm going in my mind, I'm not in the body anymore, of that person, why did they say that to me? And I project it all out, and I blame other people. Whereas what actually is happening on my inside is just a buzzing, a vibration, and a pulling of my, I don't know what it is, my esophagus, my spine, my shoulder. That's all what shame or guilt is right now for me, in my experience. And it never lasts long. But because the child inside of us was so afraid to feel that at a young age, because it was overwhelming when we were 3, with our little bodies, to feel shame and guilt when somebody told us off that, we did something wrong. So we moved away from that. And now I'm helping women to just starting to observe with curiosity and openness, and do it with a microdose. Let's do a microdose of the fear that you're feeling. Just 3 breaths. Let's go into the place where you feel your fear, and notice that nothing is happening. And we do a lot of like stabilization around it. So what do you do when you are overwhelmed? Because maybe it's too much to feel 3 breaths of fear. Okay, go back to another place in your body that does feel safe, or go back to the room and include what you're seeing in the room just as much as you include these pieces of sensations around your stomach, where most of us have our fear. So it's a very slow path, and I never go faster than anybody wants to go. I never do anything in a session that is where people are like, oh no, this is too daunting, I don't want to go there. Okay, let's not go, because that's another child part of you that wants to feel safe before we go anywhere. And I strongly believe that that is what, healing should be about. We should prioritize what the body feels comfortable to do, and what our inner child parts and pieces of trauma feel safe enough to do, because trauma was a quick overwhelm of the body. So we can't quickly fix that by going out of that. No, we need to very slowly let the body decide the pace, and and feel more agency around feeling. And we decide. We're mature now. We can say, okay, I'm gonna do one more breath now of anger. I can do it. I'm not 12 anymore. I'm not in that situation where my dad yelled in my face and slammed the door in my face. Or, we're not there anymore. I'm 39 now. I think I can feel a little breath of anger. And that's just these are just little pieces and bits that I do at the beginning of sessions with everyone, to start to see the body again as a safe territory instead of an unsafe territory, because that's what we've told ourselves.
Amazing. It's so powerful, because I think what you mentioned there as well, like the patience, for having the patience, because I think our ego or a different part of us will always want to move it along. I think manifestation is like amazing, and we're all here to create an amazing reality. That's absolutely beautiful. But I think when we have the information that we create our reality, and we're doing that from our internal state of being, then we're like, okay, can I heal? Can I heal? Can I heal? Because we're so attached to wanting out. Bless you. We're so
Thank you.
attached to a specific outcome. We want something to happen. So then it's like, can I rush my part? And I found, when I've seen myself do that, like personally, and I see clients trying to do, and it's like, can we take a pause? Can we almost slow it down? And I think it's like that classic thing of slowing down to speed up, because then when that part of you gets to be fully witnessed and fully seen, then it can dissipate. Then it feels safe to let it go ultimately.
Yes. And it's just another story. This is what society has imprinted on us, and our parents and our teachers, and everything needs to be fast. So we think it's only good when it's fast. Whereas the body is the opposite of that. The body knows that fast is never going to get her where she needs to go. That's just pushing. And, that's where the whole the toxic masculinity comes in, and where so many of women of our generation are in their masculine, because
Mm,
they're hyper independent, and they've learned how to look after themselves and to keep themselves safe in this world. But it also comes with that layer of getting stuff done as quickly as possible with force, because we have a goal. I'm just sick of any more person that says to me, so what's your goal? I'm like, what about the goal just being, let's be present, What's your goal? And you need to formulate it smart, and needs to be specific with a time limit. And I'm like, that's so not what my body wants. My body can't
mm,
tell me I need 3 hours of rest and then I'm ready to do some work again.
mm.
She will have it her way, and I should give it her way.
Yeah. Can I ask you how this level of dedication and devotion to you showing up for your inner child and showing up for your body has led you into a beautiful union?
Mm. Yes,
Mm. Oh, look at the smile on that
I think he's here. I think he's Yeah, I love this question, because it has brought in this whole other field of, love that life wants us to experience. And I was blocking that because I had so much fear, because of multiple sexual abuse, sexual harassment, sexual abuse in my maternal lineage. My whole body was anti-men. And then I found this amazing job in Afghanistan and then in Iraq. And it was all about, see, I was like confirming, reaffirming, men are bad. All these women I'm working with, men are bad. Man raped them. Man did this. So that, like, it was really like beautiful place to be, because I was affirming all my stories around men. And then at some point I went to a retreat, because I was super overwhelmed. My body started to like give in because of the stress of living in a place like that. It was just taking its toll. And I went to a retreat, and I don't know how, but all of a sudden, all the signs around me were about being pregnant, having a child. And I was in a relationship at the time, and I had just chosen not to have a child with him when all of a sudden I appeared to be pregnant. and I haven't spoken much about this online because I also know there's so many, especially in the places where I was, there's so much judgment around making such decisions. But that opened the door for me to actually start to feel, what do I want? Do I want to be a mother or not? And I just had no freaking clue. I just thought, I don't even feel my body. So how do I know if my ovaries are, what do you say in English? We say clapping in Dutch.
Say
Ringing.
clapping. If they're what?
When you biologically are so ready to have a
Okay.
child, you can feel your ovaries.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I didn't.
I don't know what we say here. I don't know the expression, but I know what you mean. Yeah. It's that feeling, that urge. Yeah, that urge.
And I thought, how do I know? I don't feel anything in my body anywhere really.
Yeah.
So I just thought, this is not, I was 35 then, I think. I thought, I want to know. I want to know what my body is saying, because at some point I want to make sure that I make the decision that I need to make in this lifetime, whether or not I want to be a mother. So I took that, and because my body was really giving up, I really needed like a break from this mental place where I was living. So I took a whole year off to get in touch with my body, and that's where I did all the somatic work and all kinds of therapy, and also all kinds of plant medicine work to really go also through the panic attacks and just feel more and see where else I had stuff hidden in my own body. And then I realized, I broke up with the partner at the time, and I realized, wow, I am driven by my hate against men. So of course the men I'm calling in are men that are also affirming that men are not available and you can't lean on them, and they will never be able to hold me. Like all these, oh yeah, all these statements that I had completely internalized about men not being trustworthy. And I thought, this is not how I want to live. I'm sure men are here for other reasons too, not just to harm us. I want to get rid of this whole toxic feminism idea that I had inside of me. I want to be a feminist, but in my feminine. I want equal rights for everyone, but I also want to love men and just be more skilled at distinguishing and discerning which men I wanted to allow in my field. So I took a time to date different men when I was living in Mexico City, and I just took on the assignment of, where can I surrender? Where is it safe to surrender? And can I trust myself, my inner masculine, to say stop and no and have the boundaries when I don't think it's safe to surrender to someone? And I did all the work there. And then I at some point after a plant medicine experience really strongly felt like a little part inside of me, like little Anna in the corner, hiding and saying, I don't want to date. I don't want to allow anybody in. I don't want to be vulnerable. I just want to be safe with you. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a period of celibacy of at least 6 months, and I'm going to devote it to little Anna and all that she needs, whatever it may be. I'm just going to show up for her. No more distraction, because it can also function as an addiction or numbing, Did he text back? Da, da, da. I just wanted to be free from that. So I did 6 months of celibacy, which was amazing. I think that's also when we met, by the way. That's when we did our first course together.
Really?
And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I could just really focus on my body and how can I give myself what I need, and all the pleasure work that I started doing. And then at some point, I also realized, wow, this is really preparing me to be even more discerning, because who am I going to break my celibacy for? That must be some special man. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And that's how I rolled into Steve, because I was doing tantric work, but in the most safe way. It was also part of my healing. It was like, I want to be able to be in space with people, whether men or women, and I want to be able to open to them, but only within my own comfort zone, and maybe slowly expand. But I want to learn how to trust myself, that I will say no. And then I had an experience with him, and all stuff was triggered, and I just knew, okay, I can make him wrong, or I can ask him to help me heal this part, and ask him to hold space for me, which I did. And he did more than that, and said to me, sounds like you're going through a really rough time. Shall I put my phone in your number, and or your number in my number in your phone, and you can call me for emergency hugs when you need them. And I was like, whoa.
What the
Okay.
cut?
Wow, yeah. So, and it was friendship first. It felt really safe just to have a friend, a male friend that was just caring and wanting to look after me in different ways. And then at some point I just felt the urge for more, and I was like, what? No, huh? No, I'm celibate. And then I was like, wow, this feels safe enough. to explore. And yeah, we're doing all this polarity work together, and it's incredibly healing to do and exciting, and it brings so much pleasure. But it's because I went right with the trauma and showed up for the child parts and the trauma and the needs of my traumatized pieces that I was able to also soften and open to him, and now find this.
So beautiful. I love it, and I love hearing you talk about him and the smile on your face as you talk about him. Like, it's insane, like just glowing. And I think it's just it's so beautiful, and it's like a testament to see the amount of work that you do. Because I went on a journey of like attracting, like my ex was like a narcissistic person, and then the men just keep getting better and better and better. The more work I do on myself, it's like the better it gets, the better it gets. They're just getting better and better and better, and it's like, oh my goodness. And it's like, to go from having those belief systems to thinking men are this, men are that, and it's actually like, no, hang on a second, it's my internal state of being. I'm just projecting. Life is just mirroring things back to me, and if I want to call in people that are whole and complete and that show up and respect people, it's like I got to do that for myself first. So I love that journey you've been on, and I'm like,
Well done. Where are you now on that journey? Can I ask you before we come to a close?
We'll talk later. We'll talk later. We'll talk off that. I could stay chatting to you forever, but I know that you beautiful. Yeah, I know that you've got a call shortly, and I know that you have to show up to serve your beautiful clients. Is there anything that you want to, before we even get where people can find you or anything like that? Is there anything that's just on your heart that you'd like to share with people before we jump off?
Yeah, it just keeps coming back. Your body is safe.
Mm.
Even if you don't think it's territory because it's holding so much, we can make her safe territory again. You know, there's ways to go back, and you don't have to go through all the details and, you know, pieces of traumatizing moments. We can just include that as part. We don't have to go poking in the pain. We don't have to go poking in the trauma. Um, there's just ways to include everything that you've been through, and to find softer ways to find intimacy with yourself again, and to be able to also find intimacy in relationships, and to learn how to take responsibility for your own stuff, as opposed to like projecting it and blaming it. And I mean, I think 99% of this world is projecting their own shit onto other people. And how beautiful is it if you can be one of the 1% that says, actually, I'm brave, I'm going to do the work because I want to live with an open heart, and I trust that I can make good choices for myself. But you'll have to go through the body. And I find it a beautiful journey, and it's bringing me so much. And you know so much about it, like pain and pleasure, they go together.
Yeah.
If we numb the pain, we stay with the pain, we stay away from the pleasure. And that's just such a missing out, I realize more and more.
It is. That's so beautiful. Like, your body is safe, and it can feel so scary to be vulnerable, particularly like with a man or a romantic partner. It can feel so scary, but it's so liberating when you do it. And it's just the freedom that comes from that alone. And I think it's just because we've been so dedicated to actually doing it over and over again that it starts to feel safer to open up. So
Yeah.
I love that. Is there anything that you are working on? Like, how can you invite people into your world? Because I'm sure many of my audience would love to go check out your work and your world because you're so amazing. Is there anything that's special going on that you'd like to invite them into?
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. So sweet. Yeah, right now I have two programs. One is called Safe and Sound, which is really the fundamentals of descending into the body and starting to explore what your body is holding, and where you can hold your body and hold all your experiences together. So it's a lot of somatic work, a lot of getting to know our body under stress, what are our strategies, what are our tactics, and it really helps to just navigate life, because life comes at you and throws stuff at you, and either you go into the same pattern all the time, or you can just start to see, hey, I can take more agency here, and I don't have to go into this block from before and the same pattern. And then the level after Safe and Sound is called Brave and Bold. So this is more about, you know, doing the hard stuff. Okay, I've got feelings in my body, and I'm going to speak them. I'm going to express them. I'm going to set my boundaries. I'm going to ask for what I need. And I know I'll be able to hold myself even when things get really tough, or people don't respond really well to me speaking up or saying how I feel about things. So that's really more an expansive program. So Safe and Sound is really inwards, really here with yourself, with me, and I guide you through one-on-one sessions and WhatsApp supports. And Brave and Bold is more out there, So it's also one-on-ones, WhatsApp support, and you're also part of the Emerge membership, which is other women that are brave and bold and want to emerge into this world. Yeah, I don't feel like I need to say more. I think you can feel it from the energetics of how powerful it is if you can give yourself this.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna shift everything in life. When you shift your relationship with your body and with triggers and the way you view life and experience life, everything's gonna shift for you.
It has to. There's no other way. That's just the way life works. Like, it does shift everything. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your energy with us. I love the names of your programs, by the way, and I've no doubt that they're so powerful. Like, I've witnessed you do this work on yourself, and I've no doubt what you're bringing to the world, because it's like wisdom that you've just completely embodied, and getting to bring it to other people is so, so powerful. I could stay chatting. I feel like we didn't even, so I might have to invite you back another time to do a part 2, because I feel like there's so much, if you're open to it, I feel like there's just so many depths and so much layers to this whole conversation. But thank you so much for sharing your energy. It's been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I just want to ask you all the same questions back about your purpose and about why you're doing what you're doing.
I love it. I love it.
Do you want to take 5 minutes to also share something about why you're doing what you're doing?
I did a live last week, a solo episode of Pathway to Purpose. But it literally, like, my purpose, like, I believe that purpose, our sole purpose in this life, is to know thyself, and to know yourself as divinity, to the God within. And you do that through creation itself. So life is going to give you desires, and sometimes we can feel like, oh my goodness, like, why is it that I want this thing so badly? But it's like, it's the journey to it. Your soul doesn't care about the physical 3D manifestation. Your soul is like who you get to become on the journey, is the powerful woman, and I don't mean powerful in a place of I'm so powerful, but it's like, you are powerful because you're part of source consciousness. There's nothing more powerful than that. And the only thing that gets in the way is the ego, or like the body, because ultimately the ego and the body speaking to each other, like, not allowing you to feel safe. When we don't feel safe, we shut off our energetic field, and we can't allow things in. And this, to me, is it's so similar to you. It's like, I want people to open up their bodies, open up their heart space, so they can let love in. Not only like let it in through other people, but through source energy itself. That's always running through your veins, and that you always have access to that love within you. So that's me. And that's, I got the download to create Pathway to Purpose a few weeks ago. So thank you for being one of the first people to come on, and you were straight away like, oh yeah. It was just like, there was no time, like, it was literally the download came through, and it was like spirit wanting to speak to other light workers that are wanting to come forward and wanting to, like, help raise the frequency, raise the consciousness of this earth. And I feel like this is more of a way for them to actually realize that your purpose isn't just landed on your plate or your role. It's like all of the breadcrumbs throughout life, like your beautiful journey, like having panic attacks at 16. It's like, you never would have known at that time that it's led you to deep fulfillment in working with people.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, I like the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Follow the breadcrumbs. Oh.
Well done to you for embarking on this journey and being so brave when you get the download to say, okay, I'm gonna do it, even if you feel like, ooh, you're like, no, doing it.
Yeah,
so brave.
just doing it, just listening, gotta listen. And the magic that unfolds when you just listen and you trust, like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, I get to hang out with you for my evening. I'm like, that's fabulous. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so nice. I mean, there's nothing better for me to speak about how we can find safety in the body, and how we can take our bodies into life and be led by the body into what we're meant to do in this lifetime.
Yeah, it's so
thank you so
beautiful. So beautiful. You're so welcome. And for anybody, thank you for joining us live. For anybody who's on the replay, let us know if you have any questions that you'd like us to go deeper into. But definitely go check Anna out. She's freaking amazing, and she'll change your life.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thanks
beautiful
so much.
evening.
It's been so fun. You too. Bye.